Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome to Forks Over Knives Live. It's Corey and Steven. We're back again. I also like to call the show Two Bearded Beauties. Am I right, Steven?
I think that we are very well groomed, and I'm just excited to have a nice head of hair.
Hey, man, you're lucky because when it comes to hair, that is something I am deficient in. But
you make up for it. You make up for it there, which is great, and we all make the most of it, which is wonderful. You look lovely.
Thanks, brother. It's all about the beard for me. I love my red beard, and it's the return of red beard. It's just how it is. But listen, folks, we're here for you today because we are talking about dining out, going out with your family, going out with your friends, going out with your loved ones, and trying to stay as plant-based or as whole food plant-based as possible. Steven, I know that this is something that we get a question about from a lot of people. And, I don't know. I think there's two ways of thinking about it. And I think you and I can represent both, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you are truly looking to be 100% whole food, plant-based, cooking with absolutely no oil and guaranteeing it, we're going to be honest with you. We're going to tell you right up front that it's going to be a little more difficult unless you go to a restaurant that knows exactly what you are talking about. Is that your experience, Steven?
Yeah, I think that's overall. We've already talked about a lot of preparations that when we are controlling the food in our kitchen, in our home, we know exactly what's going into it. We know exactly what's coming out of it. Now, what's wonderful to see, Corey, is there are so many more eateries and restaurants around the country that are at least providing more whole food plant-based options visually, maybe even whole food plant-based menus, maybe even completely whole food plant-based restaurants. So that is a very, very exciting trend that we are seeing, but knowing that that still is something that is going to be a bit more minimal, especially in certain spots. I think there are a lot of unique preparations that we can do on our end, our due diligence, to make sure we're setting ourselves up for success as much as possible when going out to eat.
Yeah. And guys, there's a lot of resources that we try to give you on this show. And we want to give you a free resource today. It's a free cooking course on how to cook with no oil, because sometimes it's best to do it right at home. And we're just going to give you an email address at the bottom here. We'll do it throughout the show, but this email address is going straight to Steven and to his team. And all you have to do is email them. There's the email right there, customer service at forksoverknives.com. We're going to send you a link. It's just for today only, though. We're going to send you this link to access a free course on how to cook with no oil. It's real easy, and we're going to set you up for success.
And the cool thing is that when you become more proficient and know what you're doing in your kitchen, that'll also prepare you a little bit more for maybe some of the tips we're about to give you when you are going out to eat or contacting a restaurant or chef.
I love it. All right, friend. Well, you go ahead and start on your first tip, and we'll just kind of fire back and forth because I know we've got a lot of resources and thoughts on.
Yeah. Honestly, I really think it comes down to preparation, right? When we are taking ourselves out of circumstances that are within our control, what can we do? Let's find out as much information as possible. And listen, this is going to be one that you can say, yeah, I'll do it, or I won't do it, in which case the next tips are going to become helpful. And that's calling or emailing ahead. It never hurts to say, hey, I'm so excited to dine at your eatery, at your restaurant. I was just wondering if you happen to have, and we can fill in the blank. And I think Corey and I will be talking about a few of those things, specifically things to ask for, keywords. And ultimately, we are looking for vegan, plant-based, oil-free, no egg, no dairy, no meat. These are specific keywords, hot topics, things that we can actually include, and just ask and say, hey, are there any options that work? Or are you able to make any specific accommodations? And if so, wonderful. So just being able to contact them ahead of time is giving them the opportunity to go, okay, what can we do? What do we have? Let's let this person know. And then you'll feel the most informed going into it.
Okay, brilliant. I love that first tip. My tip number 2 is going to be knowing who you are, knowing what level you are comfortable with. Because I will tell you, if you are rigid about being whole food plant-based, which a lot of us are on this, and that's okay, then you're probably not going to be going out too much. And that's okay. Here's why. It is impossible for you to be in the kitchen at the restaurant that you are at. And in the kitchen, the folks that are cooking might not fully understand the way that you eat. Therefore, there might be cross-contamination. If there's something in a fryer, chances are we probably aren't eating it anyways. But if there's something in a fryer, it might be cross-contaminated with a meat-based product. It might be contaminated with a gluten product. That's something that's sensitive to me personally, because my son is celiac and gluten-free. So he's not only plant-based, but he's gluten-free as well. So whole wheat he can't do, right? But those are things that you have to ask yourself. And I say, knowing who you are, meaning, are you going to give yourself a little bit of grace and still stay plant-based, but maybe you don't have the opportunity to go, no oil? We don't love that. But we want you to know what level you're at and where you are.
Absolutely.
I was
going to say, Corey, I was going to say persistence, not perfection, right? When we're out of the control, we can't be completely perfect, but everything that Corey said is you getting a gauge of what am I willing to do? And sometimes, we all dine out in some way or another. It's an enjoyable experience. We get to connect with friends, with family, and experience outside the home. We get to feel a little bit fancy, and we get to also support wonderful businesses too. So if we get persistent, but not perfect with everything that Corey shared, then you're going to find a path where you feel comfortable going out to eat.
Yeah. It's funny. I want to announce to everyone, I don't know if you saw yesterday, Stephen, but our newest magazine, the Spring 2024 Forks Over Knives magazine, is flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that we sold out of it yesterday. If you want to find out more about that, just go to forksoverknives.com and you can access it. But yeah, we sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of copies.
That is fantastic. And everything that we're talking about on these lives, the magazine is chock full of tips, tricks, success stories from people just like us. So I'm positive that whether in this issue or another issue, talking about eating out, those recommendations, you're going to find so many practical life tips and guidance in the magazines, hopefully that you're getting from us too. So if it is available around you, I highly recommend checking it out.
One more reminder, then we're going to your third tip. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So the reminder is at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see an email. It is the customer service email. If you can email customer service, then they will give you access to a free cooking with no oil course that is offered by Forks Over Knives. We're going to give that to you for free. So, all right, Stephen, let's get into tip number 3 for dining out.
Yeah, you know what? I have a resource. To share because based on what you were talking about, cross-contamination and other things, the thing is, do we have any plant-based restaurants, specifically plant-based restaurants around us, right? We go around, we're going to support other ones. We're going to go to some of our favorites that have options, but aren't specifically completely plant-based. But if we can find as many plant-based restaurants as possible, it's just going to expand our variety. It's less we have to worry about when it comes to, let's say, that cross-contamination in the kitchen. And there is an app, it's called Happy Cow. I recommend it because it's one of those that's been around for so long, and it is a database of vegan, whole food, plant-based, and then basically plant-based friendly restaurants, eateries, and markets that are around you. Again, this is all part of the due diligence. If we can look up on Happy Cow and find the spots around us, we have more variety to go to. And then in the meantime, we can also still continue to patronize our other spots with some of the tips that we'll be continuing to share for what we can ask for at the restaurant.
Brilliant. A lot of these things are tactical things that Stephen is giving you. And a lot of the things that I'm giving you are kind of like mental shift things. And so I'm going to continue with another one. And it's kind of like capitalizing on knowing who you are. And I want you to be confident. When you go into the restaurant and you speak to the waitress, I want you to be confident. That's going to be tip number 4 for you. And there's something about confidence when you state how you eat that is really important because it's going to be conveyed to your server. Now, all you can do is you can represent yourself in the best way possible. You don't want to seem, apologetic or like, I'm so sorry, but I am plant-based. Could you help me? Right? I think that you can give them as much information as possible. The thing that I want you to be aware of is the way that your server or your person that is working with you responds to how you speak to them, because that's one thing you can't control. If they react and make you feel like you're an alien from another planet, it's probably not going to go well. And I would either leave the restaurant or I would just get a plate of steamed broccoli or something of that sort, because no one wants to be felt like that, right? No one wants to be treated like that. And so if you can approach that with confidence and say, hey, I am you could say vegan, but you and I both know vegan might include oil. You could say I am whole food, plant-based. Let me explain a little bit about what that means, and maybe you can help me navigate through the menu. And then I think speaking confidently and representing yourself in that way will help you get through those kind of uncharted waters for these people a little bit better. Do you agree?
I agree. I think it's all about rapport, right? Especially with the servers. The servers are the messenger, right? So we're not necessarily going for a when Harry met Sally. We're not feeling so high maintenance that we're asking for each and everything. It's 2024. This is a lot more mainstream. And I know there's still places that it doesn't feel mainstream, but going in with that confidence and just saying, hey, I would love to eat here. Here are just a few accommodations that I'm specifically looking for. What can we work with? Being able to do that, I think definitely goes a very long way, Corey. That is a fantastic tip.
Cool. All right. How many more tips do you have, friend?
I mean, listen, I have a couple of keywords, especially going in confident. We want to know what we are asking for, what we're saying, right? And now specifically, we obviously know that we're looking for no meat, no dairy, no eggs. And we can use either one of those words. I think it really depends, right? Vegan or plant-based. Now, some of the other questions that we can ask are, can you prepare this steamed, baked, or dry roasted?
Ooh.
Can you saute in water or veggie broth instead of oil or butter?
Nice.
Is the pasta made with egg?
Ooh.
Is whole grain bread available? And maybe if you're looking for a soup or something like that, is the soup prepared with a vegetable stock instead of an animal stock, a meat or a chicken or a seafood stock? Those are some of the questions that I think with that confidence you can ask. They're very, very clear. And at least a server can go back to the kitchen and find out for you. And that will lead, depending on if you have anything else, Corey, with some of the amazing cuisines that are out there. Some of the sides and the mains that we can ask for actually will be quite easy to find some options for us. And they're probably going to be able to use, the chefs in the kitchen will be able to use some of those cooking techniques, steaming, baking, dry roasting. So those are some of those questions that we want to ask for. Steam, baked, dry roasted, sauteed in water or veggie broth. Is the pasta made with egg? Is whole grain bread available? And is the soup made with vegetable stock?
Oh, incredible. And thanks to our producer, Bess, for putting those below for you. You guys, not only in the comments where they'll live forever, but also right below there. Guys, before we go, I just want to mention this one more free resource for you on how to cook without oil at home. It is a free course approved, done by Forks Over Knives and our special cooking partner, Ruby. So we love them so much. We want to give them a shout out. Just check out customer service at forksoverknives.com. Send us an email. And we're going to send you the link to that you can access today. It's a free course, and we will give it right to you today only. So make sure you act now. Email customer service, and we'll give you that link. You just put your name and your email in, and then boom, you got access right there. Something to do on a Friday night. That's what I would say.
I love it. Corey, can I finish off with our final cuisine rundown?
Please.
Here we go. If we are going to a Mexican restaurant, overall, we can look for something that's like a taco salad, a burrito, even something like that. We're looking for, again, if we can get a whole grain tortilla, great. But ultimately, in the tortilla, what do we have in there? We have maybe black beans, pinto beans. We should ask just to make sure that there's no meat or lard in them. Steamed veggies galore, whatever your favorite. What steamed veggies can you do? That can open up a whole world. And we can get mushrooms, we can get broccoli, we can get cauliflower, we can get tomatoes, we can get beyond rice. Whole grain rice of any kind. Do you have any brown rice? Salsa and guacamole and lettuce on top. All of a sudden, we have a lot of different sides. At a steakhouse, baked potatoes. Potatoes are totally villainized, but usually it's because of the stuff that's being put on top of it, right? Can we just get a baked potato with some steamed veggies? Let's get some salsa. Let's get some guac. Maybe, hey, if a place has hummus, let's get some hummus on top of that. Whatever we want to do, we can load up a baked potato with beans and rice. And all of a sudden, we've turned a little side into a nice, massive meal. When it comes to salads, what vegetables do you have? What beans do you have? And do you have a balsamic vinegar? Do you have a little bit of lemon? We're trying to avoid oil on the salad. So what else can we put on there? And when it comes to Italian, I mean, we talked about pasta. If we can get a whole grain pasta, great. If we just need to get pasta, is it made without egg, right? And then again, what are all of those other steamed and roasted options, dry roasted veggies that we can put on there. If you go to an Asian restaurant, a lot of those places you already are fine with steamed veggies, with rice, with tofu. Can we get any maybe plant-based or vegan sushi rolls? Any sushi rolls that are completely plant-based? Or a spring roll, one of those spring rolls that are just filled with veggies, steamed dumplings, or perhaps a miso soup. So before you know it, you're going to start looking at menus differently and going, you know what? I can utilize every side to make a nice massive meal. And with important questions, I can probably navigate my way to finding some entrees that work with all of the cuisines of the world.
Freaking brilliant. Dude, this is so much value. And I just thank you so much for coming to this. Not only, energetic and happy, but also prepared, man. You are so prepared. And I just want to say thank you for that, because the Forks Over Knives team, guys, they care so much about you and your success. If you want to reach Steven or his team, it's right there. Of course, we got the free resource for you. But then if you have any questions about any of the products that Forks Over Knives has, if you can't find the spring 2024 Forks Over Knives magazine that just was hot off the presses, let us know. But ultimately, we're just here for you. And we want to say thank you for tuning in and watching us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it. And listen, Corey and I are both years and years into growing our beards, but also into our plant-based journeys. If you are just starting, if it seems difficult at first, don't worry. We got you. Down the line, you're going to get you too. All
right, y'all. Listen, have a great Friday and a great weekend as you march towards St. Paddy's Day. We'll be here the whole time. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.